What's up, Hawksboro? Coach Welch here. Excited to bring you episode 6 of the Home Network series. Today we have another alumni spotlight to follow up episode 5 with Johnny Nicholas. Today we have Mike Varga. Played for us for 5 years. Graduated from us in 2015. Trained with us for years from Connecticut. Drove all that way to RBI to train with us for so many years. And that level of travel is nothing compared to what he's done in the last 12 months. Has a very interesting story and some solid words of advice for our younger players out there. So I'm excited to bring that to you. Before we get going with that, keep up with those track programs. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Obviously, today is Wednesday. Yesterday, word on the high school season being canceled came out. We're going to come out with a lot of information on that for the high school players and teams today, tomorrow, through some webinars and some emails. So check your Google Classrooms for those. But for now, let's listen to some solid words from Mike Varga, class of 2015 with the Hawks, and looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Thanks, guys. What's up, everybody? Coach Welch back with you. I'm here with Mike Varga, one of our former athletes with the Hawks, who has a very interesting story to share that I'm very interested to share with our current players. Mike, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, Coach Welch. Nice. Thank you for having me on board.
You got it, man. For those of you watching this, Mike is currently in Austria, waiting to go over to the Czech Republic to play some baseball. We'll get into that in a second. But why don't we just get into that? Mike, Mike, you played with us until 2014. Your career went to junior college, Florence Darlington Tech for a couple of years. And then you went to play D1 ball at Presbyterian, and obviously have since graduating last spring, 2019, you've had some really interesting stories to tell that I'm excited to hear. Why don't you tell our current players what you've been doing since playing for the Hawks?
Sure. So, like you said, I graduated in 2015, and I did 2 years at Division I junior college in Florence, South Carolina, Florence Darlington Tech. We've actually had 2 previous Hawk members at that school. And while I was there, I played with one of them at the time. And then my summer of my freshman year, I played in the Mid-Atlantic Collegiate League in Virginia Beach. My sophomore year, I was captain of Florence Darlington Tech, and we actually were the first team in program history to win the Region 10 championship, the Eastern District Championship, and then we got a ticket to the Junior College World Series in Colorado. And then after that, I went to Division I school, Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina. After my junior year, I played summer ball in the Coastal Plains League for the Wilmington Sharks. Finished out my senior year at PC, graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. Was off for 6 days and flew to Belgium. Spent 3 months in Belgium playing in the Belgian Baseball League for the Montse-Goubert Phoenix. And
I'm happy you said that because I couldn't pronounce it. I was going to read it off.
The town was Louvain-la-Neuve if you really want to get.
Not even going to attempt it.
So yeah, I did three months in Belgium, in the Belgian Baseball League, and while I was there too, I got an opportunity to play in Rotterdam, Netherlands, at the World Port Tournament. It's one of the biggest baseball tournaments in Europe. I was part of Team North America, and we played Team Japan, Team Taiwan, Team Netherlands, and Team Curacao. I finished up there in September, went to Wembley, Western Australia, which is right outside of Perth, for 6 months. I played for the Wembley Magpies of the Western Australian Baseball League. And then as of right now, to be determined when I start, but I've been in Vienna, Austria, waiting to go over to Brno, Czech Republic to play for Draží Brno of the Czech Baseball League.
So your standard story about what to do in baseball, right?
Pretty standard. I think I got it all. Nothing too away from the norm.
Just start traveling, go to tens of thousands of miles, and
actually the furthest city in the entire world from Boston, Massachusetts, is Perth, Australia. So I can say that I've been from one end of the globe to the other.
I will use that as a trivia question for our guys later.
There you go. Longest possible flight you could take.
Yeah, which is I don't envy that. But I would love to go. I would certainly love to go there and play some baseball. But I think, yesterday we had one of our former players on, Johnny Nick, and he talked about a lot of what helped him in his career. He's a little older than you, but kind of what helped him that he learned in baseball throughout his business career. You're obviously someone looking to take baseball to the highest level possible. But we were talking before, if you want to make sure that when your playing days are done, you have a coaching background as well. So I would love to get into that as well. But like just for those of you who don't know, Mike traveled from Connecticut to play for us for 5 years. Before that, he would travel in the summer to our camps, train with us. He and his dad, we got to know really, really well. Definitely a very committed player. So yesterday, Johnny talked about like time management being such an important skill he obtained from training with baseball. What are some of the things that you feel have helped you through college and now beyond that you learned as a young player growing up?
Sure. Well, I'll bounce off Johnny real quick with a short one, and that's punctuality. I learned really quick that if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
Yep.
That was one of the first things. Junior college coach, one of the first things he said was, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. Early is on time is late, late is you're screwed.
Yeah. Late is you're gone.
That's the backup. That's the backup, Johnny. But I'd say maybe 2 or 3 of the biggest things I learned was how to be a competitor, first and foremost. Some of the things that I observed in my 4 years as a junior college and 4-year college is that teams with the slowest heartbeats always win baseball games, and that comes from being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I found that being able to practice or prepare yourself in a situation that's harder than you're going to face in any baseball game, you're prepared for pressure and you're prepared for competition. And you can't be afraid to fail in either one of those, which is the biggest thing that baseball's taught me, is how to deal with failure and adversity. Baseball is the best game because baseball is just like life, and life is definitely a game of failure. And so things that the game showed me how to handle failure was, number one, controlling what you're able to control.
Love it.
There's a lot of variables in the game, a lot of variables in life, but you can only control a very small amount of those. So focus your energy and your time and your commitment on those, whatever those may be. And it doesn't have to be big things either, like hitting home runs or driving in runs. It can be something like showing up on time, or taking care of the little things, appreciating what you have, holding yourself accountable. All those things are things that you can control. Another one is build trust and work ethic. I don't think at any point in my baseball career was I ever the best player on the field, but I was going to be the one that worked the hardest, whether that be in the weight room, the classroom, anything in between. I was going to be the one that worked the hardest, and I was able to build trust in myself in that. So when those pressure situations came up, when you're in a big spotlight, like for instance, the World Series or something, you've built some trust in your work ethic, and you can just kind of let the game take over. You don't have to think, you don't have to worry about those things. Trust yourself. Holding yourself accountable is another big one. There's definitely times in everybody's life that you're going to be the one that's in the wrong, and you have to be able to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself and hold yourself accountable to the standards that you want to be. And then having resilience, having fortitude. There's been times in my baseball career too where I think I've done everything right and I've controlled what I can control and worked hard, and the cookie still doesn't crumble in your direction. You still draw the short stick, and you have to be able to pivot. You have to be confident in those situations and have resilience and be able to get back up the next morning and let's try plan D, plan E, plan F. Plan A is not always going to work. Very rarely does plan A work in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you're essentially giving our entire coaching philosophy in like 3 minutes. So I guess I'm not needed anymore. But yeah, I mean, I think that's Mike. This is all great stuff, because that's why I wanted John here, man. Because I think that I'm confident that you're going to continue your playing career for a long time. But I'm also confident that when your playing days are over, you're going to be an inspiration to so many young players long after your playing days over. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, even though you're how far? 4,000 miles away? I don't know.
I don't even know.
I don't even know. But I wanted to hear your message because, yeah. How long?
It was only 15 hours to get to Austria.
Oh.
With layovers, it was 42 to Australia. So
Yeah, that
after
sounds like
that, nothing seems too long anymore.
it's. I don't even want to. I don't even want to leave my house right now. So, let's touch on something that is slightly different than I think what a lot of our high school players think about right now, which is the junior college route. I also played junior college baseball, and obviously you had a lot of success at the junior college ranks. When you were training in high school and playing and doing your thing, going through the recruiting process. I mean, obviously you were a sought after player. Like what made you choose Florence Darlington over some other options?
Sure. So I think to start, when I was deciding on where I wanted to go to school, I came from a very, very small town in Connecticut. I say all the time that we have more cows than people, and I would still argue with that, but that's true. So I did want to take a little bit of break and go and get away from home, go away from the New England, which I think a lot of players can relate to. Um, FYI, now I can't wait to come home. So it
Yeah.
does come back around for
Yeah.
sure. But South Carolina was a place that very early on I had really wanted to play. I'd been able to be down there early in my baseball career and loved it. So I'd been fortunate enough to go down a few times, do a couple of camps, do some tryouts for different teams, and I didn't just quite get the kind of offer academically, athletically that I was hoping for. Not as much security, and actually relatively early in my recruitment, Florence Darlington Tech had come onto my radar, and we had communication. And in my experience, there's three kinds of players that go to junior college. You have the player that can't quite make a 4-year school academically. You have the player that wants to take the fast track to getting drafted. And then you have the player that's a little bit in between. Maybe they don't quite have the offer they want. Maybe they have a dream school that they didn't get offered to, but there's a chance with the make it. Whatever that case may be, that's the third player, and that's the type of player that I fell into. And it was quite honestly probably the best decision I've made in my baseball career, and maybe even life. It was by far, up until maybe recently, the best 2 years of baseball I've played, the best 2 years of my life in general. And in terms of friendships, in terms of development on a personal level, on a baseball level, I couldn't have made a better decision. I always recommend to players that ask me to seriously look into junior college, because it gives you opportunities. Having gone to both the Division I junior college and Division I 4-year, there's things that a 2-year school can give you that a 4-year just can't do.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can obviously speak to that as well, but I think that when we're talking to our players, I think that, just there's so much of a path that they feel like is set for them, and this is what's going to happen, and if it doesn't happen, what do I do? And it's like, I just think that a lot of our players don't explore enough options and think that there's one way of doing it, and when there's so many different ways of doing it. I mean, a lot of our guys say, I want to play Division I baseball. It's like, okay, well, one, is that best for you? Is that the best fit for you? Two, well, if that's what you want to do, you need to explain why. And, there's certainly good reasons to, but then you look at someone like yourself who wanted to play high level baseball, and the option wasn't there out of high school that you wanted. So you went to an unknown to some extent in the junior college world, which is, like I said, it's a relatively unknown path up here. And look, it turned out to be the best 2 years of your life, and it's and now look at you, and I think it's clearly something that, it was right for you. It worked out great for you. And I mean, I think that it's a lesson to so many of our younger players. It's like, don't think there's only one option. The other thing is the recruiting periods for colleges, the bigger schools right now, Presbyterian or, any of these other schools down there, they're so early. Kids are being evaluated at 15, 16 years old for these schools. And it's like, when you go to a junior college, you give yourself the opportunity to be 18 or 19, be recruited instead of 16.
And I'll throw out a few other things there for you, just to add on to what you're saying. In terms of the recruitment thing, a lot of people don't realize too is that, especially Division I schools, they have limits on how many kids that they can have out of state, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You can only have, I don't know what the number is, but you can only have so many kids from out of state. Where junior college, there's no recruitment restrictions in terms of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is, for my case, there are two reasons why I didn't decide to go to 4-year. One was the financial situation, and the second one was playing time. For people who who may not be able to afford the $40,000 school with with the scholarships right away. Junior college, I'm very fortunate to have walked out of college with zero debt, which a lot of people can't say, and I would not have happened if I didn't go the junior college route first.
Yep.
And the second thing too is talking about restrictions. There's the restrictions on playing in junior college is much more relaxed as well. So we played a 50-game fall season, and that was not just the inter squads. That was, we also scrimmaged teams we had whatever you want to call them, fall games against Coastal Carolina, against they just played like a Clemson in a pit this year. So you do play high level competitive ACC, SEC baseball. We played 50 games in the fall and then another 60 in the spring. So you're going to get a lot of baseball, and especially in the fall, you're going to play. There's an opportunity for you to play right out of the gate and continue to roll right through that. Whereas in a four-year school, I don't think I wouldn't have played right away as a freshman, or if I did it would have been very minimum. Even being at a four-year and watching some guys come into the program, it's a very big difference between being a high school baseball player and being a college player. And we had a lot of guys that probably would have had more playing time at a junior college level if they had decided to go that route first.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, on average, you're 50% of your roster is turning over every year in a junior college, whereas 25% would be turning over.
And we had we had 100% rate of commitments to a four-year Division II or Division I school upon graduation, if that's what they decide to do. Not everybody decided to continue that, but 100% of our players had the opportunity to go to a Division I or Division II program after graduation, which there's continue as well.
I mean, you're talking about 100% opportunity and zero student debt. Like those two things combined, or something.
Really that's pretty good sell.
And obviously, sorry, but financially, I mean, obviously coming out with no debt and having a degree from Presbyterian, I mean, look at what you're able to do because you're not sitting here stressed about stuff.
I got a degree as well in junior college too, so I have 2 degrees.
Yeah, you have 2 degrees.
You get a lot.
Well, Mike, I think I'm gonna call it a day here because I have, like I said, I have a bunch of other questions, but you provided so much good information that I'm dying to get to these players today. I think that, if you could talk about your goals from here, you had talked about your website. If you want to give that a little plug and what you're trying to do with that, and where that kind of came from, that's something I want to get to our players as well.
Sure, absolutely. So it's michaelvargainternationalcoaching.com. We actually just released it because of all the stuff going on. A lot of people are locked down. We have a package called the Corona package right now, which focuses on drills and workouts, personalized drills, personalized workouts, video analysis based upon the idea that you might be stuck at home. You might have limited access to facilities. Maybe you're stuck with just free weights. You could be like me, bench pressing bags of soil at this point, lifting cement blocks. And that all came along with wanting to connect with players that I met internationally, youth players that I was coaching in Belgium, in Australia, in the Netherlands, wanting to continue to coach them and help them develop as a player long past the time that I was leaving the country. And that's definitely not restricted to just being international too. So I have a couple of kids right now from the United States in the program too, which is great.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I wish you nothing but the best of luck there. You're one of our all-time favorites. I mean, not many kids had the dedication and the travel that you had to play for us, and I'm really happy. Obviously, things worked out, but make sure you tell your family I said hi, and stick around for 1 minute. But I think I just appreciate your time, man, and obviously good luck whenever you can get over to the Czech Republic and start things up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Chris.
All right, Mike. Thanks, man.